Good afternoon. This is a regular City Commission meeting for the City of Largo. Today is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask that if you have a cell phone, please turn it to silent or off so that we don't have any interruptions. We're going to start this evening's meeting with a invocation given by Father John Roberts, and he'll be joining us virtually via Zoom from Eastern Calvary Episcopal Church. So please stand up and we'll follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We'll start with the invocation, then follow with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, very, very good. Good evening, everyone. I'm zooming into you this evening, joined by 80 other Episcopal clerics at the Diocesan Conference Center in Ellington called Dayspring. And this evening, we had two prayers that I thought would be very suitable to invoke God's Spirit into this assembly. And so I will bring that to you at this time. I will say, the Lord be with you, and you say, and also with you. So the Lord be with you. And also with you. Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon those who hold office and the commissioners here in the city of Largo, give them the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. And finally, teach our people to rely on your strength and to accept their responsibilities to their fellow citizens, that they may elect trustworthy leaders and make wise decisions for the well-being of our society, that we may serve you faithfully in our generation and honor your holy name. For yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head above all. Amen.
Amen. If you can join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated, and thank you, Father Roberts. The first item on the agenda tonight is team member of the quarter. Members, there's an S. Team members of the quarter.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Kim Nichols, Assistant Human Resources Director, here to present to you the employees of the quarter, team members of the quarter. Before I get started, though, however, I'd like to recognize the CP College student who has spent the fall semester with us in the department, completing her capstone, Miss Andrea Ippolito. If you could please stand up. Miss Ippolito has... Ippolito has spent the fall semester with the Human Resources Department. She chose her capstone to be effective and efficient training. She put together an amazing training module with regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In fact, I think I'm going to steal a couple of her slides. She did a very good job. She will be graduating on December 9th with a bachelor's degree in Health Services Administration with a minor in management. We're very proud and honored to have her have spent time with us during the fall semester. She is also the daughter of Anna G. in Human Resources, and both her parents are here tonight. She's finishing her capstone by observing the commission meeting. So again, can we give her a round of applause? And okay. All right, on to the Team Member of the Quarter Recognition Program. So once again, we recognize team members quarterly for exemplifying the City of Largo's mission, vision, and values. Then there's a selection committee that chooses those members throughout the quarter. 4 team members were chosen for the Team Member of the Quarter, so I'd like to call up Patricia Stopa first from Finance. Ms. Stopa was nominated for her value of collaboration. It is rare when someone's attitude and work ethic exemplify the city's core values in a manner that compels me to nominate them for Team Member of the Quarter. However, in my view, Patricia Stopa consistently both embodies and exhibits the spirit this process is intended to celebrate. Since transitioning to her new payroll specialist position over 6 months ago, Trish has continued to provide meaningful contributions and mentorship in support of her previous area of expertise, accounts payable. Not only was she responsible for training her new replacement, but Trish also spends a significant amount of time during non-payroll weeks continuing to lend second-tier support for AP-related functions and questions from the team. One thing you will never hear from Trish, the dreaded mantra for disengagement: that's not my job. This is capital C collaboration, and we are an internal service department. The impacts are felt not just within finance, but across the entire organization. Ask anyone who has ever worked with her or needed her help, and you'll realize that Trish Stopa has been a shining example of collaboration long before it was formally identified as one of our core values. Congratulations, Trish. Next up, Lorraine Peluso, Public Works. They're all very excited to get up in front of you all, too, by the way. Lorraine was nominated for her values of integrity, collaboration, passion, and creativity. Some of the things that Lorraine enjoys are solving problems or work changes by coming up with the most efficient ways to get the job done and the technical aspects of her position. Lorraine is also proud of the fact that she is a person that her coworkers come to for help with a variety of issues. Inclusiveness by her coworkers, especially immediate work, until Lorraine's main goal in her career is to make a difference. Through her daily interaction, she knows that what she and her coworkers do at Public Works impacts the Commonwealth on a larger scale and is one of the greatest rewards of her job. Lorraine feels fulfilled when she can reach people in an impactful way to advance. Planning and executing public outreach events, site tours are particularly rewarding for Lorraine because she can see the interest and excitement as people absorb and exchange new information and perspectives in real time. Congratulations, Lorraine. Officer Justin Katz. Officer Katz was also nominated for his values of integrity, collaboration, passion, and creativity. Officer Justin Katz worked so hard it is beyond belief. He was selected to be one of the contract negotiation team for officers and was tasked with making spreadsheets, which he would do on his own time. These complex spreadsheets would be relied on by the contract team to project and forecast salaries for nearly 125 employees. He is a team leader for the TRU team, Tactical Reconnaissance Unit. Did I say that right? Okay. This requires a significant amount of training, research, and operational experience. Officer Katz built this team from the ground up. He worked collaboratively with command staff and created a proposal to purchase a drone for the PD. This tool has helped unnecessarily putting officers, well, unnecessarily, yeah. So we don't want to necessarily put officers in harm's way, so Officer Katz is utilizing that drone, so we don't do that, right? Okay. Officer Katz recently graduated from his bachelor's degree in Public Safety Administration. He also passed his LSAT. This is impressive. He recently passed his LSAT and is in the process of applying to law school. So are you going to take Sasha's spot next? Okay, all right. Does she know this? Not yet, okay. Oh, she does know this, okay, good. Justin never stops. He is one of the hardest workers at the PD. As you can see, he is extremely passionate, uses his creativity and collaboration to make his mark at the police department. I strongly recommend he is selected for Employee of the Quarter for LPD, and I know his coworkers all the way up the chain of command would agree. Congratulations, Officer Katz. Kirk Bellinger. Mr. Bellinger is a fleet technician at Public Works. He was nominated on his value of passion. On July 12th, while Fleet was having their monthly meeting, a team member of Public Works walked into the room pointing to her throat. Without hesitation, Kirk immediately realized the team member was choking and jumped up to perform the Heimlich maneuver. He continued the process until the obstruction was dislodged and the team member was no longer choking. It's important to note there were no other team members in the area, and while searching for help, the team member found Fleet in the conference room, and thankfully, Kirk immediately realized the severity of the situation and reacted. The team member of the Public Works as a whole are very thankful for Kirk's compassion and knowledge of this life-saving technique. Thank you, Kirk, and congratulations. Mr. Hatton. So Mr. Rob Hatton, our building official, he was selected as the team manager of the quarter. He's in community development. He was nominated on the, again, 4 values: integrity, collaboration, passion, and creativity. Rob Hatton has created a culture within the building division that inspires great teamwork. He cares for each member of his team by accepting their differences and working with them in the way that best meets their needs. Rob is very caring, dependable, and loyal to our team. That shows in the many pep talks and I believe in you moments that he has had with each team member. There are many other people from various Largo divisions that depend on him as well for his knowledge, advice, and good laugh. There is usually a line outside his door and people waiting to speak with him. Most importantly, his door is always open. I would like to see Rob recognized for all he has done to keep our division going strong. He is a true leader, one that really cares and fully believes in his people to do great work. Congratulations, Rob. We'll get one group picture and then it'll be done. Okay, one more round of applause.
Thank you for working for the city. Thank you for working for the city. Thank you for what you do for the city. Thank you for what great job. Thank you for working for the city. I'm not about to. He wants a hug. No, I'll not hug you. That's his job. There we go. All right.
Well, congratulations. Next up, we have a presentation by the Pinellas Community Foundation.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Doug Cooley. I'm the CEO of the Pinellas Community Foundation, and we are excited to highlight and recognize organizations and companies that inspire others to lead in caring and empathetic ways. And so tonight, we are pleased to recognize the City of Largo, and I'll put this award up here for you. Pleased to recognize the City of Largo and celebrate your culture of caring. And we want to do that for 2 reasons in particular. One of them, specifically when we look at examples of how we encourage philanthropy in the community, and we look at the ways that companies and then also municipalities are investing in the community, we have been impressed with what the City of Largo has done through your employee volunteer program. The way that you encourage your employees to get involved in the community and the way that you are able to compensate them for their time getting invested in the community, we are very impressed by that, and the way that you encourage your Team Largo to get involved. This is the way that we build community, and this is the way that we help to make sure our cities and municipalities are better equipped to make the decisions that impact our citizens. And so we're grateful for that program. We're also grateful for the way that you distributed ARPA funds to nonprofit organizations in the community, and the way that you did that in a way that we believe exemplifies trust-based philanthropy. You made it as reasonable as possible after you got involved, listened to the needs, but then you're also working to keep those lines of communication open between nonprofits and city leadership, and that is incredibly important. So I want to say thank you this evening, and thank you for everything that you have done. We want to recognize you, and so we have a nice award for you, but then also appreciate the partnership that Pinellas Community Foundation and the City of Largo have had over a number of years. And in recent memory, certain things come to light for me, like the safety net program and launching that and helping Largo Police to more quickly return participating residents who have Alzheimer's or dementia and finding them and locating them more quickly, to more recently an emergency care and respite fund that was funded by Pinellas Community Foundation to help you as you work with older adults in the community. It has been fantastic. The relationships we have developed with the city over the years have been fantastic. We applaud your work, and we are very, very honored to recognize the culture of caring that you are building in our community. Congratulations to all of you and to the city as a whole.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from the Kiwanis Club of Largo Mid-Pinellas.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission, and new City Manager. Thank you for having us here tonight. I wanted to come say thank you for your continued support for our mobile recreation unit, the Play Express. This mobile recreation unit has brought play to local parks, not only in Largo, but we've teamed up with our county parks, neighborhoods, community events, and school events. This past year, with the support of the Kiwanis Club of Largo Mid-Pinellas, the focus on STEM activities, and we added a lot of sensory activities for children with sensory processing disorder, autism, or other disorders that could calm them down and get them involved with play. With the continued collaboration with the Kiwanis Club of Largo Mid-Pinellas, we are adding more items in our Play Express for hard of hearing children and our visually impaired friends. Tonight, I am proud to introduce to you Jennifer Frazier with the Largo Mid-Pinellas. Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Thank you for your continued partnership. As Kiwanis, we are focused on working with communities that empower positive impacts towards the children in those communities. And our partnership with you all has clearly, by Kara's remarks, shown through. And so tonight, we are here to present a check for $5,000 towards the Play Express. Our focus on those students with disabilities, those children that need that sensory function, and that inclusion in park activities is very near and dear to our hearts, and we are so thankful that you all recognize that, and we are very thankful for the partnership. We look forward to continuing to partner with you all in the future, and so now we will present you with the check.
I got one more picture. One more. One more photo. One more photo.
Who are you, the producer?
I tried. this is good for me.
If I'm not mistaken, Play Express was at Taylor Park today and will be at Datskill Park on Thursday. Is that right?
Wednesday, Largo Central Park for toddler time. No, that's not right.
Wednesday, Largo Central Park, toddler time. What's the time on that?
10 a.m., 9 a.m. until 11.
9 a.m. until 11 at Largo Central Park. Thank you, Kiwanis, and thank you, Jennifer, for being here. Next, we have a proclamation of Native American Heritage Month.
Whereas during National Native American Heritage Month, we celebrate the rich tapestry of indigenous peoples, including Native American, American Indian, First Nation, Native Alaskan, and other indigenous groups, and honor their sacrifices, which we recognize as inextricably woven into the history of this country. And whereas Native Americans are represented across the United States by 574 federally recognized American Indian and Alaska Native nations, and are descendants of the original indigenous inhabitants of this land, and whereas the city recognizes the deeply rooted history of Native Americans across Central Florida, including the Tocobaga people as the first inhabitants of the land that is now the city of Largo, in addition to the neighboring Timucua tribe that lived across the greater Tampa Bay area, and the Seminole tribe, who continues to have an active presence in the community and has significant history across what is now Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. And whereas Native Americans have lived through experiences of tragedy, triumph, and perseverance that should be shared with future generations, and whereas Native Americans have enriched our heritage and continue to add to all aspects of our society through their generosity of culture and the continued practice of teaching economic, environmental, and cultural sustainability, and whereas our country is blessed by the character and strength exemplified by the Native Americans who have answered the call of service in our armed forces in greater numbers per capita than any other group in the United States, and whereas during the month of November we honor Native peoples in their ancestral homes, and recognize their continued contributions to strengthening our society, now therefore I, Woody Brown, Mayor of the City of Largo, Florida, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2023 as Native American Heritage Month in the City of Largo, in conjunction with the celebration of National Native American Heritage Month, and with recognition of honoree Josephine Motlow North, who served as an educator, youth development supporter, and advocate for preserving the language of the Seminole tribe, making an impact in Florida and nationally.
Good evening, City Leadership, Commission, and Largo community. I am honored to be part of tonight's celebration and recognition of Native American Heritage Month. Throughout this month, we invite the community to join Largo as we celebrate the heritage and resilience of the indigenous peoples who have shaped our community. Through our e-newsletter and social media, we'll be highlighting some of the local landmarks and educational opportunities in our region, including at our very own Largo Public Library, where folks can learn more about Native American heritage as well as historical and current leaders. Tonight, I have the very special honor to recognize this year's Native American Heritage Month honoree, Josephine Motlow North, and read her incredible life experience and community leadership with you all. Josephine Jo Motlow North was a Seminole tribal member who was raised in a traditional Seminole Chickie camp off of US 441 in Miami. She was punished for using her native language as a student in Florida public schools, and then later developed programs to preserve Seminole languages for future generations. During Josephine North's educational experience within the Broward County school system, she would receive corporal punishment for speaking her native language, Miccosukee. At that time, this discrimination was also applied for all Native children for speaking their native language. North soon learned English as her second language and became an interpreter for her family. North began her career at the Seminole Oakley Village Gift Shop when she was 14 years old. Then years later worked for the Seminole Tribe of Florida Board of Directors office serving as an outreach worker. During her tenure, she was involved in youth development since the 1970s, working for the education and behavioral health departments. She was a Seminole Tribe of Florida Hollywood Board representative from 1973 to 1979. Later, she attended native language workshops and training between 1996 through 2014, most co-sponsored by the Native Language Institute located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. There, tribes and indigenous groups were introduced to Thornton Media, a highly used electronic native language computer application. With this knowledge, she was asked to help develop a Seminole language program by the Seminole Tribe of Florida preschool director in 1999. She was the only employee and traveled to each reservation. She also worked for the former Councilman Max Osceola Jr. and Hollywood Councilman Chris Osceola for about a year to complete that language application. Now the app is available in Miccosukee or Creek and is a tool to help pass on the Seminole language. One tribal member per household can bring their iPad or iPhone to the cultural department and download the app. North also developed the summer youth conferences and spearheaded the Boys and Girls Club of America program on Seminole reservations. The first club was chartered in 2004 on the Hollywood Reservation. North also worked as a volunteer and served as a chief professional officer as required by the Boys and Girls Club of America from 2004 to 2020, later earning the Nation Service to Youth Award on November 11, 2013 for 9 years of devoted service. She retired after 47 years of working for the Seminole Tribe of Florida and passed away recently on May 13, 2023. She enjoyed being a mother, a grandmother, and a Seminole artist. And I would now like to invite Josephine's family, her husband Robert Cloud North Sr., and her daughter Erica Dietz to share a few words with us on her behalf.
Giantamo. Good evening, Mayor, City Attorney, City Manager, and the Commissioners of City of Largo. I want to express my gratitude for honoring my mother, Jo Motlow North, as this year's Native American Heritage Month honoree for the City of Largo, Florida, 2023. My mother was an amazing Seminole woman, both in her personal life as well as her professional life. And I know she would have been very honored to receive this prestigious award. From our family, thank you. Shanabajat Wado.
Wado. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Commissioners, guests. It is quite an honor to be here tonight and to help receive this award. I wish there were other cities that were so generous in understanding and realizing that Indian culture and history is American culture and history. And so we need to learn from our successes as Americans, but also our failures as Americans, and be stronger. My wife was very strong and committed to helping everyone. We met at Indian Art School in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We were both artists. We come from very strong artistic families, and it was very challenging to be married to this very, very strong and powerful woman. I come from the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska. We are of nature, a patrilineal nature, which means that I would come first at my tribe, which I did until I met her. She is from the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Obviously, they are matrilineal. And we clashed pretty much the whole 52 years that we were together. But the way I recall, we learned to agree to disagree. But she taught me so much. And we worked side by side. I am so honored that I was able to be a part of her life for so long, that we were able to have a family that I was welcomed not only into her family, but into her clanship, and also into the tribe. And I have been working diligently and still work for her family and the tribe, as it's pretty much expected, even now in her absence. But it's just so important that not only that we have these types of ceremonies, but that the correct history of the Native American is integrated within our school systems. And that the pride that I was raised with as a Native American should be the pride that is instilled in all Americans. We come from a very rich history. We're very smart. We're very intuitive. We're very creative. So I applaud you. I applaud you 100%. And as I began, I wish there were more cities that were more sensitive, and that we could celebrate with as Native people. So Shanabashe, Mado, Penigei, thank you. Chimigwich. And may God bless you all in this commission. Keep up the good work. And, you know, we don't say goodbye. We say, we'll see you again. And so thank you once again.
Next, we will recognize Largo Small Business Month.
Whereas the Largo City Commission is proud to celebrate Largo's local entrepreneurs, their energy, ingenuity, and perseverance, and whereas from the storefront shops that anchor downtown Largo to the technology companies that keep Largo on the cutting edge, small businesses are the backbone of the community, and whereas Largo's businesses embrace job creation, use innovative technologies, and employ a diverse workforce to preserve the economic well-being of all of Largo's residents, and whereas small businesses are the nation's job creators and comprise over 99% of all firms in the United States, which make up over 33.1 million small businesses, and whereas half of all businesses are home-based and about 1 in 5 businesses are family-owned, and whereas Largo's businesses contribute to the vibrancy and independence of this community, keep money in the local economy, create jobs, offer important and essential services, and employ a diverse workforce, and whereas the Largo City Commission honors local entrepreneurs for helping make Largo the community of choice in Tampa Bay, and whereas residents of Largo are asked to recognize the contributions of our community's local small businesses and the key role they play in keeping our economy strong, now therefore I, Louis Woody Brown, Mayor of the City of Largo, Florida, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2023 as Largo Small Business Month in the City of Largo.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commission. I'm excited to be here tonight in celebration of Largo's local entrepreneurs. This is the 12th year that the Largo City Commission has recognized Small Business Month during November to create awareness of the impact local businesses have on the quality of life here in the city of Largo. As every year for Small Business Month, there will be no charge for temporary events during the month of November. The moratorium will provide Largo's businesses an opportunity to host various events, such as sidewalk sales and on-site promotional events, at no charge to them in anticipation of the upcoming holiday shopping season. The Economic Development Division is promoting the moratorium through weekly e-newsletters, social media channels, and external community partners. The city will also be conducting a social media campaign to shine a light on Largo businesses that contribute to making us the community of choice in Tampa Bay. In addition, a free financial webinar hosted by Valley Bank will be offered to provide Largo businesses with valuable information they can use to manage and grow their business. And lastly, in recognition of these small businesses, we encourage our residents and visitors to shop local during the month of November. Thank you.
Hug?
Hug. Thank you.
And I believe today's business spotlight on Facebook, the Largo's page was Kona Ice of Largo. So that was our Facebook spotlight today. Next, we'll have citizens comment. If you'd like to speak about something on the agenda outside of the consent docket, please wait until the item comes up. Do we have any cards this evening?
Yes, we have 5 cards. First is Dwight Bolanowski.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, public. I'm here once again to talk on the item of Chapter 1178, which is the 50-foot setback rule. People have stated their positions regarding the 50-foot setback rule pertaining to boats, RVs, trailers, and commercial vehicles. To give you an idea, a boat, Class A, is anything up to 16 feet. Class 1 measures 16 feet to 26 feet. Class 2 measures 26 to 40 foot. And Class 3 measures more than 40 foot but less than 65 foot. Anything over that is considered a yacht. To give you an idea of RVs, you have the Class B, which is your van style, which is 16 to 21 feet. The Class C is 25 to 35 foot, and the largest is your Class A, which is 26 to 45 feet. Mayor Brown, speaking at the last meeting pertaining to signs and flagpole heights, you said, and I quote, "Don't have to have the tallest pole," unquote. The same applies to footage on the ground. We do not have to have a 50-foot setback rule. At the last meeting, the first reading of the proposed changes were presented and graphics were also displayed indicating some streets being 20 feet while others were 25 feet wide. The right-of-ways and sidewalks were included. Since the city has the information, why can't a small marker stake be placed on the corner section of a lot indicating where the right-of-way exists? Put a marker every so many feet down the length of a block so that everyone can see if their vehicle is actually legal. The last meeting had also discussion describing whole numbers, 50 foot, and also percentages. Do away with the 50 foot and make life easy for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Matthew Faustini.
Good evening, all. Matt Faustini, 1015 Lake Palm Drive, Largo. First, I wanted to thank city staff for a great Housing for All virtual event last week. And I want to urge everyone, you can still participate. Go to largo.com/housing for all. But what I'm here really to speak tonight about is to ask this commission to stand in solidarity with Israel. St. Pete quickly showed its solidarity, but our city has been silent. Hamas isn't some peaceful organization. A Hamas leader said just last week, Israel is a country that has no place. We must remove it. We are not ashamed to say this. No one should blame us for the things we do. On October 7th, October 10th, or October 1,000,000th, everything we do is justified. You heard that right. The largest massacre of Jews in a single day since the Holocaust wasn't enough. Hamas wants 1,000,000 more. The ADL has reported a 388% increase in anti-Semitic incidents here in the U.S. since the October 7th attacks. Some might ask why this matters so much to a non-Jewish, gay, 34-year-old liberal. Well, I was fortunate enough to grow up here in Pinellas County, attending our amazing public schools. And we had multiple Holocaust survivors come and share their stories. And I remember the first time a Holocaust survivor came and spoke. It was 2000. I was in 6th grade social studies. And the man started sharing his story with us. And when he got to the part where he was branded by the Nazis, he then rolled up his sleeve and showed us all the tattoo branded on him. Then got up and walked aisle by aisle so every one of us could see that tattoo. It's not something you can fully understand as a kid. I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. We later went on to visit the Holocaust Museum. I remember it was 2000, the new boxcar exhibit. You could hear the pain, the grief, the horror, the suffering radiating from those wood planks of that boxcar. This is not a right-left issue. Israel's creation was supported by the UN, the US, and the Soviet Union. Israel's first prime ministers were socialists. Labor Zionism has a proud leftist tradition. I disdain the current Israeli government, as do most Israelis. But I know, just as they do, in a democracy, a different reality is always possible. Just 2 years ago, the Israeli government was a 7-party coalition that spanned from the Israeli religious right all the way to an Arab Islamic party. So let's act in support of our values, our friends, our Israeli brothers and sisters in the Jewish community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Michael Peltier.
Michael Pelletier, Largo, Florida. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, for this time to speak this evening. I presented for you a letter that was given originally to Commissioner Holmes, dated 10/24. You have a copy there. And it states I'm opposed to any major changes to the parking portions in 1178, but I would offer a compromise suggestion. That letter is available on ccaseearn.com also, Largo for public viewing. It's an outline of a compromise that aligns with the surrounding cities, and we would intend our ordinances to eliminate arbitrary execution of law that your proposed version will create. The proposed revisions of Ordinance 1178 are short-sighted. For example, by defining quantity of vehicles in the back or side yards as one, you condemn all those people who have multiple recreational or commercial vehicles in their back or side yards to remove all but one. Other cities do not do that. Section 1173.c puts campers in the exempt commercial vehicles list. The context of that opens a bad door. There's no mention of a screen or fencing or objects placed in the back or side yards. All cities studied required screening in the side and back yards. So what's the point of aesthetic or curb appeal concerns if you don't try to hide some of these little items. No definition of parking surfaces, maintenance, or appearances are found anywhere in the setback-bound vehicles. There's no mention for displaced parking, and we're sure to have a problem on our narrow streets. The city needs to follow its own ordinance 16-128.m.3, marking all streets 30 feet or less, measured asphalt to asphalt, not curb to curb, with the proper no parking signs so the citizens can be aware. This is a really big safety concern that you're ignoring. No concern is shown about parking in the right-of-way in neighborhoods without a sidewalk. No concern for covering recreational objects such as a boat or whatever to prevent the pooling of water and the breeding of mosquitoes. No definition of boats on a trailer, but sometimes up on a chalk or someplace else for repairs. No limitation on the size of commercial vehicles. Today, some of these vehicles are 9 feet tall and make a nice millbuilt billboard. The GVWR rating will not flag some of these new vans. Current code 1173.E defines the heavy vehicles as 11,000 pounds, but that will put a lot of residents into the breaking the law category with if they drive an F-250, which is beyond that weight limit. The study is available on ckcern.com. When the neighborhoods begin to fill up with recreational vehicles, mobile homes, shrimp boats, etc., I can't imagine it will bode well for the property values. That affects your taxes too. So please put your thinking caps on, call in some outside help if you need to, but don't forget why you're here, to serve and protect. Don't destroy Largo. ckcern.com, SEACASEURN.com for Largo information. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mark Kluthel.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Here's the headline. Climate change predictions too low. Study says experts misjudge the Earth's sensitivity. Doesn't look good. And then here, climate data is telling us something new. Staggering, unnerving, mind-boggling, absolutely gobsmackling bananas. That's the start of the article. Not pretty. Antarctica sea ice at an unprecedented low. Coral researchers see mass mortality amid Florida Keys bleaching crisis. Climate change will be a fiscal disaster. U.S. sets record for billion-dollar weather disasters. Earth endured its most sizzling summer. Hurricane shatters weather rules. Atlantic hurricanes are intensifying faster, study says. World's amphibians risk being climate captives. And Winston Churchill said, we shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. So what do? You make another eyesore. A hideous, pathetic monstrosity that's going to be belching carbon and adding to all these problems. Ignoring the science of high performance passive solar building. I just went past that monstrosity going up on West Shore. It turns my stomach. It makes me think of that quip from Amory Lovins. If it's not efficient, it's not beautiful. You people are sick. I mean, really sick. You just keep ignoring science. Yeah, what a legacy.
Thank you. Next speaker is Craig Murtha.
Hello, everybody. I want to speak a little bit more about the practice of building housing so close to the road. Because, you know, I heard it said one time that the person who builds your house is more important to your health than your own doctor. No offense to any doctors in the room. And because studies have shown that traffic, or being exposed to a lot of traffic, can bring on early onset Alzheimer's, can cause heart disease, lung disease, high blood pressure. And so I think it's something we should think about when we're building, when we have this preference towards building so close to the road. And I want to correct myself also, because a couple of meetings ago I said that by putting the parking in the back, we would cause more asphalt on site because you'd have to have longer driveways to get back there. But that's not always the case, because I noticed in some of the places they're actually going down side roads to get to the back. So now we're exposing more of the houses and duplexes on the sides of these apartment complexes to more traffic. And if you ask those people, you know, back in those neighborhoods, if they liked all those cars going all the way back there instead of isolating those cars more towards the front of the property, I think that they probably tell you they didn't like that. And also, I guess part of the reason why we're building so close, because some people think it's more aesthetically pleasing. I don't. I like building set back and partially obscured by more trees. And I think when you set them back further, you can plant trees with larger canopies, because when you have buildings close to the road, you have to, usually they're choosing small, narrow canopy trees. So you can get more canopy, which would be more buffer and more distance. It would just be more helpful to all the people who live in these places. And we also seem to be building for our view. You know, if it is more aesthetically pleasing, then we're building for our views. But I only drive by these places, you know, for a few minutes, where these people have to live in these places. Now, if you look at some of the older places built in the 70s, I have a friend who lives in some very modest condos that were built where all of the parking was around the perimeter, and then they had buildings on both sides of a string of ponds. So just about every place has a nice view. But today, we're building in a way where people have views of the streets or views of an asphalt parking lot at the back. And these are important people. These are our workforce. And you know, these are people that protect our health and make our lives better. So we should really try harder to protect their health and make their lives better. And yeah, we should try to give them a lake view instead of an asphalt view. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the cards.
Thank you. Next is approval of tonight's agenda.
Move approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
6-1.
Motion passes 6-0. Next is consideration of the minutes from the regular meeting of October 17th, 2023.
Move approval. Second.
Any corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Can I hear the consent docket, please?
Item 8, appointment of vice mayor. Item 9, reappointment of Mr. Jose Valdez as a member of the Largo Municipal Police Officers and Firefighters Retirement Plan Board of Trustees. Item 10, reappointments of Ted Jones and John Murray Jr. as members of the Personnel Advisory Board. Item 11, approval of modification to the settlement agreement in the matter of Tampa Bay Waterkeeper et al. Versus City of Largo. Item 12, authorization to purchase new fire rescue vehicle in accordance with Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contracts 091521-NAF and 060920-NAF in the estimated amount of $112,000. Item 13, acceptance of a permanent easement for sidewalk and stormwater swales located along the northeast boundary of the Pinellas County School Board property at 137 2nd Avenue Southwest. Item 14, acceptance of a right-of-way dedication located along the northeast boundary of the Pinellas County School Board property at 137 2nd Avenue Southwest. Item 15, award of contract number 24-B-795, lift station floodplain mitigation of lift station 47 to RTD Construction Incorporated, for construction in the amount of $1,697,005 and an owner contingency of $260,000. Item 16, authorization to purchase Centranet telephone voice services for fiscal year 2024 from the State of Florida Department of Management Services in the estimated amount of $65,000 for the period of October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. Item 17, authorization to spend up to $320,000 on the purchase of an aquatic environmental workboat from We Do Greenboat Incorporated, utilizing U.S. General Services Administration contract number 47QMCA20D0042. Item 18, approval of change order number 5 to RFQ number 20-Q-698, new City Hall construction manager at risk with Biltmore Construction Company for plan revisions 1 and 2 to the Horizon Reclaimed Water Main Extension in the amount of $170,454.87. Item 19, approval of the scope and fee for resident project representative services by Brown & Caldwell in accordance with professional services agreement RFQ number 19-Q-666 in the amount of $364,340. Item 20, authorization to award RFQ number 22-Q-758 to Sweet Sparkman Architecture and Interior Services for design services for the Central Park Performing Arts Center improvements in the estimated amount of $94,000 for Phase 2 of the design. Item 21, authorization to purchase an annual subscription, training, and consulting services for the Enterprise Resource Planning System from Workday Incorporated in the estimated amount of $523,000. Item 22, authorization to purchase cable TV and internet services from Spectrum Incorporated in the estimated amount of $223,000 for fiscal year 2024. Item 23, authorization to purchase cellular voice and data wireless services from Verizon Wireless for fiscal year 2024 in the estimated amount of $431,500. Item 24, authorization to purchase library materials, including books, non-print materials, and related ancillary services from Baker and Taylor Incorporated, Midwest Tape Incorporated, and Overdrive in the estimated amount of $375,000 in accordance with the City of Jacksonville contract number ESC 0371-22. Item 25, award of change order number 3 to RFQ number 19-Q-684 with ASD Sky for the Horizon West Bay project and an owner's contingency in the amount of $339,680.
Thank you. Before we take a vote, and while she is still Vice Mayor, I'd like to thank Vice Mayor Hulk for her service this past year as Vice Mayor, and thank you for filling in for me on occasion. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.
Now you've heard the consent docket. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent docket without commission discussion, including staff background provided in the commission packets.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And now that he's Vice Mayor, I'd like to welcome and thank Vice Mayor Eric Gerard for agreeing to serve as Vice Mayor for the upcoming year. I'd also like to thank Mr. Jose Valdez as a member of the Largo Municipal Police Officers and Firefighters Retirement Plan Board of Trustees, as well as Ted Jones and Mr. John Murray as members of the Personnel Advisory Board, important boards for our city, and thank you for your service. It's all volunteer. I appreciate it.
We don't have to hug him now, do we?
No, you can't. It's optional. And
Mayor, can we ask, do we get a ride on the new We Do Greenboat whenever that comes in? Because that thing looks pretty cool.
That's cool looking.
you can probably arrange that as long as it's actively cutting weeds and stuff. Next is item number 26.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Commission. The item before you is a small-scale future land use map amendment for a 1.39-acre parcel of land located at 9216 Ulmerton Road. There have been no changes to the proposed ordinance 2023-044 from its first reading on July 11th of this year.
Ordinance number 2023-44, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the City of Largo Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map classification of the within described tract of land located at 9216 Omerton Road from Industrial General (IG) to Industrial Limited (IL), consistent with the City of Largo Comprehensive Plan, amending the city future land use map on file in the office of the city clerk pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 163, Part 2 Florida statutes and the Pinellas Countywide Plan rules, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards on this?
We have no cards.
Any questions from the commission?
I move to adopt ordinance number 2023-44 on second and final reading.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I had a presentation and everything.
We've had this one before.
A second reading.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Next is item number 27.
Good evening. Before you, item number 27 is a resolution updating the City of Largo's investment policy. Our policy was last updated in 2009, and going through this process, we looked at other cities, counties, and consulted with brokers. So some of the main differences for the updates to the policy include allowing for additional investment options, differentiating between money markets and bank-labeled money markets, updating our maximums and investment types and removing our minimums. We are looking at updating the final maturity from 5 to 10 years for the investments that we do have. And then also requiring the same continued education annually for the Treasury Manager that we do for the Finance Director, which is 8 continuing education hours of investment-related training. The main objectives remain the same in our policy. Number 1 is always to ensure the safety of the city's principal. 2, providing liquidity, and 3 is the rate of return. So staff is available for any questions.
Resolution number 2380, a resolution of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the City of Largo investment policy established in Resolution number 1608, providing for repeal of any resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards?
We have no cards.
Commissioner Holmes.
Thank you. Do we interact with the police and fire pension boards on the investments?
So they're separate.
I know they're separate.
This isn't governed. They have their own investment policy.
Okay, I mean, we don't interact with them at all. We don't even exchange notes or anything like that.
I do attend the pension investment, the actual meetings that they hold, the police fire pension plan, and listen to the presentations given by their investment advisors.
Okay, do you ever give input on that to them or not?
No.
Should I ask why?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. You feeling the power already?
It's gone to my head.
I mean, just as to the portfolio managers that they have within the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. If I'm asked, I will provide input.
It's a point of curiosity only. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I move to approve resolution number 2380.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is ordinance number 2024-06.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Ordinance 2024-06 is the first reading of our final quarterly budget amendment for fiscal year 2023. So as we've done this year, our new process bringing consolidated quarterly budget amendments, we're bringing one final budget amendment for quarter 4 of FY23. It's retroactive for any of those things in the last quarter of the year. So included in this budget amendment are an administrative change allocating $25,000 to the administration department instead of the general operating department. So this is just to reflect where the accounting is actually happening in the ARP COVID Recovery Fund for our grant manager position. So this isn't any new spending, just an administrative change. As we see every year, the Community Development Department receives revenues in both the SHIP and the CDBG programs throughout the course of the year. and we amend their budget as we get an idea of what those additional revenues look like. And so this is amending additional appropriations for both of those programs for affordable housing programs. In the engineering fund, we're appropriating $80,000 out of the tree impact fee fund associated with the Church Creek Drainage Project. There's additional tree plantings that went along with the scope of that project. Tree fund was an appropriate funding source for that, so we're increasing the appropriation in that fund associated with that project. We have a minor rounding error we're correcting in the general operating fund from the the third quarter budget amendment. One of the largest components here is in order to have a better opportunity to try and secure an order of police vehicles, we did bring forward the FY24 budget into the end of FY23 to try and place that order in September. So this is just appropriating that FY24 vehicle budget in FY23, so we won't be utilizing that in this fiscal year. And finally, appropriating an additional $100,000 in the Public Works Department Fleet Fund for a combination of depreciation expenses. So that is not a cash expense, that is just reflecting the accounting that's going to be happening there this year for a capital asset that's being depreciated, as well as some funding for training that they undertook at the end of the year associated with the software upgrade, and some additional expenditures related to vehicle maintenance supplies. So with that, staff is available for any additional questions.
Ordinance number 2024-06, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget adopted by resolution number 2337 by $1,765,200 for various personnel, operating, capital, and other needs as described in Exhibit A to this ordinance.
Thank you. Do we have any cards on this?
We have no cards.
Any questions?
I move to approve ordinance number 2024-06 on the first reading and schedule the second reading and public hearing on November 21, 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next is ordinance number 2024-07.
All right, thank you. This is additionally a budget amendment amending the FY23 budget. This one is specifically related to our Hurricane Idalia response-related expenditures. So during the activation in August for Hurricane Idalia, the city tracks any reimbursable emergency-related expenditures. We accumulated about $243,900 in emergency-related activities. This budget amendment is just appropriating the budget to go with those expenditures, but we are pursuing FEMA-related reimbursement for those. And staff is available for any questions. Finance Director is here for any of those FEMA reimbursement questions if you have.
Ordinance number 2024-07, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget adopted by resolution number 2337 by appropriating expenditures in the amount of $200,500 within the general fund, $2,800 within the CDBG fund, $300 within the Community Redevelopment Agency West Bay Drive Fund, $6,000 within the Construction Services Fund, $8,800 within the Stormwater Fund, $800 within the ARP COVID Recovery Fund, $19,500 within the Wastewater Operations Fund, $1,900 within the Solid Waste Fund, and $3,300 within the Fleet Services Fund for Hurricane Idalia response expenditures and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards on this?
We have no cards.
Commissioner Holmes.
Have you been in contact with FEMA on this?
Yes, we actually met with them last Thursday for
Okay.
scoping meeting.
Put on your crystal ball, what's the chances of us collecting all of this from FEMA?
So for this event, they have marked it as a 100% eligible for our Category B, which is considered the emergency protective measures. The only thing that wouldn't be reimbursable is the fuel purchases, because we're able to claim the equipment instead, the equipment use. With this not really being an event, we didn't have much equipment use besides going to get the fuel to prep in case we needed it. So we're looking at submitting a claim right now for around $230,000.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I move to approve ordinance number 2024-07 on first reading and schedule the second reading and public hearing on November 21, 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Zimmett, do you have anything this evening?
The only thing, I'd let the commission know that I will not be at the next meeting, and Ms. Parson will be covering the meeting for me. From that, have a good, happy Thanksgiving.
All right, you too. Commissioner Gerard, Vice Mayor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, thank you for your trust in me, and I will do my very best to do the job honorably and with common sense, which sometimes I find difficult. And simply because I don't want us to stay silent on the issue that Mr. Prestini brought up. But support for Israel, and as a Jew with family who live there, I'm extremely sensitive to this. I have not been able to contact my family over there. They live in Tel Aviv, which has been shelled a lot, and I'm sure that some of the younger members of that family have been called up into the reserves, and I don't know what their condition is right now. This is a very fraught issue. I would love to see a peace that was honorable and generous and humanitarian for all sides concerned. I am not suggesting and would not suggest that we, not that I would oppose it, but I would not suggest that the City Commission take an action on this. But I don't want us to act as if we don't know about it and don't care. So this has been going on for decades and decades and decades, thousands of years, and perhaps sometime in my lifetime, maybe we'll see a solution. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
Just wanted to ask the commission if we could bring the proposed resolution regarding PSTA that was drafted by Alan for PSTA to share with the cities. Essentially, what's going on right now is Representative Cheney from St. Petersburg, or in that area, St. Pete Beach, has filed a bill, well, we'll be filing a local bill to change the governance of PSTA, as well as several other things. I believe most of you, if not all of you, have received a copy of the bill. Obviously, my main concern for the change in governance at the minimum is that the city of Largo potentially could not have any representation on that board moving forward. I think it's extremely important, being that we are the third largest city in this county, that we have some representation when we talk about the only transportation authority in this county. As the representative to PSTA, I asked that Alan draft a resolution to, pretty much say that, we're not in favor of the bill. I believe Carson sent a copy of that to everyone. I'm not asking that we obviously pass it tonight, but if we can at least have it on our next agenda for the commission, I would like to have it passed and sent out to the legislative delegation before their next meeting, which I believe is the 28th or 29th?
29th.
Yeah, of this month. So just looking for some support in that. And again, I know that y'all have the resolution. Be happy to get a copy of have Carson or somebody send a copy of that bill to you if you'd like to read it as well. I'm sure it would all be on the agenda item. So I have, just looking for some support on that.
I didn't see anybody mad, so I think we can.
I just ask that PSTA has drafted Alan with PSTA. Are all the members of PSTA going to get the same ordinance, cities? And at the same time, are they willing to step up? Because I've been on Forward Pinellas where some do, some don't want to ruffle feathers, things like that. How much is
the resolution was sent to every city that's a member of PSTA.
Okay.
And to all board members, city representative board members. What I know so far is it was brought to City Council at Clearwater, I believe it was brought to the city commission in Seminole. I know that St. Pete has been discussing it internally. I don't know if it's gotten to their city council yet. I believe it's going to the Dunedin Commission. So those are the ones that I know about.
And Oldsmar as well, so, yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
So those are the ones that I've heard back from.
And I'm only taking this from what I read in an article, so it seemed like PSTA was hoodwinked a little bit with this bill also. Brad seemed to be.
It wasn't hoodwinked. It just wasn't, it wasn't clear what the bill was going to be until the day of, or actually not even the day of the delegation meeting. There was no bill on the day of the delegation meeting. It came out afterwards.
Okay.
So it wasn't that anybody was hoodwinked.
But Brad knew what it was. There was
knew
something.
that there was a bill that was going to be proposed.
Okay.
We just weren't clear on what it was going to be. It was, the conversation was around being more open as far as, I don't know what, I mean.
I think the word
Yeah,
should use
transparency, thank you.
to be more transparent.
Yes, sir, thank you. So, go ahead.
So she did let some people know that there was a bill coming, but there was no discussion as to the substance of the bill until the bill actually came out on Wednesday or Thursday of last week.
I would ask also to send it to Forward Pinellas, since they deal with a lot of PSTA things also, and they deal with, I'd ask maybe they also sign on as a resolution to support this. That's all I
That
ask.
resolution's on the agenda for tomorrow.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And I just wanted to add as well, sorry, Mayor, that myself, Brad Miller, and Dan Saraki, who's the vice chair of PSTA, will be traveling to Tallahassee next Monday and Tuesday to obviously specifically speak to our legislative delegation about this proposed bill.
And Commissioner Robinson probably isn't aware of this yet, but Mr. Miller and Ron Pierce, the PSTA lobbyist, are meeting with Representative Cheney on Friday afternoon. Okay. I don't know if they're going to be able to listen to any changes or not, but I do. The other thing I would let you know is I know that Councilmember Albritton brought it up at the City Council of Clearwater the other day. Well, they didn't. They put it on. They're putting it on the agenda for next week's meeting, but apparently they weren't happy that the City of Clearwater also no longer would have a representation.
Yeah.
On the PSTA board.
Yeah, so my only suggestion would be, I read the proposed bill, and I have not yet read the resolution. I prefer that we take a look at the resolution and include how it would affect us as the third largest city in Pinellas County, and why we're concerned with it, and maybe propose changes to make it better, if that's possible, rather than sending the same resolution that Oldsmar and Clearwater, So I would hope that we could customize it to our position as where we are.
I can certainly, I could customize it to specifically to Largo. It talks about the history of city representation on the PSTA board, actually going back to the 1970s. We can certainly customize that because Largo has had an appointee to the board, and all the different manifestations of the board that has gone through all the years since like 1973. So we can customize it in that way. The resolution only addresses the governance because that was, as Commissioner Robinson expressed, the main concern of the city representatives, that they no longer would have representation under the proposed bill. Only St. Petersburg would have an appointment. The 9 appointees would otherwise be 7 appointments by the county commission, 1 by the governor, and 1 by the city of St. Petersburg.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add that there's a lot on the bill that I don't like, but I think from our perspective, if we're going to pass a resolution, it would be best to talk about our representation on that.
Right.
To your point, Mayor.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Holk.
Yes, first, thank you for allowing me to represent the vice mayor spot. Thank you, Commissioner Robinson, especially. I'd let you sit next to me the whole time, right? It was an honor to serve in that capacity. Also, I just wanted to congratulate again the team members of the quarter, Patricia Stoker, Justin Katz, Kurt Bellinger, Lorraine Luso, sorry about that, and Robert Hatton, and let you all know how truly appreciated you all are. And when you go above and beyond, it makes even that much more special. I thought it was really heartwarming tonight because we had actually 3 recognitions about our city and our partnerships, and it's always very heartwarming to me when we have these kind of meetings where people are coming to us and telling us that we're doing a good job as a commission and as a city, because our staff that are behind us make all of these things happen for all of the citizens of Largo. So thank you, Duggan, Pinellas County Community Foundation, the Kiwanis Club of Largo. That's an amazing program. And also the kind words from, I wrote down her name, but I don't think I spelled it right. Matgo Joe North, her family. Thank you so much for your recognition. And she sounds like a fabulous woman that unfortunately we didn't get to meet, but she's definitely left a legacy and a great family to carry on her traditions and values. So thank you. And I think that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
I wanted to echo what Commissioner Holk had to say about just what a great team we have on our staff, and congratulations to all our team members that were honored today. I did notice that I was reading through the PSTA draft language, and they seem to be attacking one particular position, like they're removing it, and they don't want it to be funded ever again. Do you know if that's an existing sitting position in the PSTA? It's like a lane closure specialist, maybe?
There is no, that position does not exist.
Okay.
No.
All right, I was just wondering, I was like, man, somebody doesn't really like that one person very well.
Yeah, it's
All right, I
you
was
know,
just
they
curious.
have planners, well, I don't need to get into the weeds with that.
I gotcha.
But yes.
I was just curious. Well, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Holmes.
I have nothing.
And I just have 2 things. First, I have Death by Chocolate, which is a fundraiser for the Largo Rotary Club. Will be on December 1st on a Friday. You can get tickets from me or from Krista Pinsence, who's out in the audience, or any other Rotarian. But it's a great event. All the money raised, we typically raise between $25,000 and $30,000. It goes to kids programs like sponsoring summer camps for kids, or sponsoring Little League T-ball for kids. So all that money goes to help children in and around Largo. It's a great time. The cool thing is that the lights will be on the park, so after you eat like a pound of chocolate, you can walk around the park and look at the lights and walk it off. So that's December 1st. I'll talk about the parade because it's after the Death by Chocolate, and we're working on that right now. But the parade is coming on December 16th in downtown at noon. One thing that I just wanted to bring up, I forget what item it was, but there were 2 items on the consent agenda concerning a dedication of easement and for a sidewalk and swale project along the school board building on the north side of the school board building. We redid that sidewalk up to this half a block where we didn't have an easement. And my understanding when talking to the school board and the former city manager and I met with them, it was just a long battle. And so the fact that we're putting a sidewalk there and we now have that easement is really a testament to the work that our staff did and some of the folks up here did to improve that relationship. And frankly, it's going to make a much nicer circle for all those employees that work at the school board to do a lap, because when they get to that point, they always have to walk out on the road or through the grass. And so it's just going to be a nice connection. One of the things that we do here is we try to look at gaps in sidewalks and fix that pedestrian infrastructure, and this is going to be a nice project. And a spot that people are walking all the time right now. So I was really happy to read that over the weekend in the agenda. And Mr. Kerp has left the building. He had to take a phone call, so I'm sure it was something important. If there's anything else, action items.
I have one, a request by Commissioner Robinson that the PSTA resolution be placed on the next agenda.
Very good. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.